everyone and welcome to my channel. In today's video I am going to be discussing how to prepare for the MSRA exam. I have got a post in anesthetics and I had to go through the MSRA exam, which has been recently introduced because of the COVID pandemic, and it has been carried on even though we are now out of the pandemic, sort of. So in today's video I am going to be discussing how to prepare for the exam, what the exam is, and about the two different sections that are part of the exam. Therefore, I have divided this video into three parts. The first part, I'm going to be discussing what the MSRA exam is, a little bit of the introduction of the exam and the structure. Then I'll be discussing SJTs, which is situational judgment, part of the paper. And then lastly, I'll be discussing about the clinical scenarios, part of the paper. I'll be talking about the resources that I've used to secure a good score, and I'll also be giving you a bit of review of each of these resources and what I think is good or bad. And also I'll be telling you different kinds of preparation tips which you can use, and it all depends on what kind of student you are and how you choose to study for any exam. So hopefully this video will be able to help you out. If it does, please give the video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and also comment down below any questions that you have regarding the exam or regarding recruitment and anesthetics. I have made more videos regarding anesthetics recruitment solely because that is what I know and I would like to share that with everybody. But in today's video we're only going to focus on the MSRA exam. So a bit background about the MSRA exam. It's called the Multi-Specialty Recruitment Assessment because a lot of different UK specialty training programs now utilize this test to shortlist candidates before their interviews, and some of them, even if you score high enough, don't even have to appear in an interview. Specialties that require you to take the MSRA exam are GP, psychiatry, anesthetics, ophthalmology, neurosurgery, radiology. Previously PEDS was a part of it, it is no longer a part of it. Obs and gynae, community sexual health something. And lastly, the ACCS and medicine. And I think that's all of it. I will be linking down below all of my knowledge, where it's coming from. So everything, every resource and everything that I talk about today will be linked down below. So you can go and check it out for yourself as well. Don't believe just anybody blindly on YouTube. But yeah, so there are quite a lot of specialties that are nowadays using this exam. And unfortunately, if you want to get into anesthetics, this is a rite of passage now that you have to go through. It's horrendous, nobody likes it. But unfortunately you have to do it, and here I am to help you with it. The exam itself is free and you can attempt it as many times as you want. It is comprising of two sections, which is SJTs and then clinical scenarios. For SJTs you've got 50 questions and you can do them in 95 minutes. And then you've got clinical scenarios, which is 95 questions in 75 minutes. As I said, the exam is free. You take it in the Pearson View Center, for which the GPN or wherever you have applied for, they will be sending you an invitation link to book your MSRA. The applications have now been open for GP and anesthetics. This is for round 2 obviously, but if you're somebody who wants to take it into round 1, you'll have to wait it for the November-December deadlines to be open, and your MSRA exam will take place in January and February. But for now, for this video, we're talking about the second round for 2022, and the window period for the MSRA exam starts from September to 9th September. The advert, as I said, has already appeared. The window for applying for GP or anesthetics is going to start from 26th July to 16th August. As I said, there's a lot of numbers and dates. I'll be linking everything down below just so you can see the timeline, especially for anesthetics because that is what my niche is now. But yeah, so carrying on with this, now we know what the exam is. It's free, you can take it as many times as you want, and the structure consists of SJTs and clinical scenarios. So let's move on to SJTs. So the SJT comprises of two parts, so two types of questions. You either get a ranking question or a multiple choice selecting question thing. SJTs was mean for pretty hard because I'm an IMG and we were never taught things like this. For example, and this is from past medicine, by the way, I'm not telling you an exam question, disclaimer, but for example, someone's there and you're in GP surgery, you enter the room, the doctor is kissing the nurse, and what do you do next? And then there is a bunch of ranking or multiple choice or whatever. Me, I don't really care. I'd be like, astaghfirullah, what did I just see? And then I'll just move out of the room, close it behind me, and I'll be like, no reaction, no action, nothing. But the SJTs are not meant like that. They want you to understand and come up with a reaction which is appropriate to whatever is happening in whatever situation you're giving in. That is why it's called situational judgment questions. And for my preparation, I personally used Past Medicine, Emedica, an Oxford book that I'll be linking down below, and the Emedica Crammer course. And now I'll just tell you my feedback about all of these different resources that I utilized, what is good, what is bad, and why you need to use either of them or all of them if that is your mode of studying style. Let's talk about Past Medicine. It's a very good source because it has a lot of questions, a very big pool. A good thing about it is that you can reset it and you can actually just go back and see the questions you've already done wrong and then just kind of revise your theories and revise your themes. It is good in that aspect, in the revision aspect. However, the explanations that Past Medicine provides for SJTs aren't the best. They don't link to GMC guidelines that well, and for you to be able to understand a question, recognize a theme, and then answer it correctly would be difficult if you're coming outside the Past Medicine question. So if you get a question similar to a Past Medicine scenario, you're probably going to do great, but if it comes separately, you won't be able to think the way the SJT papers have been set. Therefore, in my opinion, the SJT portion of Past Medicine isn't the strongest bit, but because there are so many questions, it is a very good resource for a good revision if you're somebody who likes to keep revising, also seeing your mistakes. I am the kind of person who likes to go back to my mistakes and assess them and reassess them until I understand why I actually made the mistake. But if you're not somebody like that, then maybe you don't need to use Past Medicine. I personally did use Past Medicine for both SJTs and clinicals. Next up is Emedica. So Emedica is by far the most closest interface with the actual exam. As I said, you'll be taking it as a Pearson VUE Center, and if you've taken the driving test, it's pretty much similar kind of a interface. As somebody who has visual problems, which I do, it is hard to gauge that interface, especially when part of it is written on the left side of the screen and part of it is written on the right side of the screen, and then you have to match things like you're a third grader. So doing Emedica gives you that practice with the interface. Plus, the SJT part of Emedica is great. The explanations are brilliant. They make you understand the themes. They make you understand why you're actually ranking the way you are ranking, and it does link to GMC. So in terms of SJTs, Emedica questions are far more closer to how the real exam is going to be. And therefore, I did Emedica SJTs a bit more than I did Past Medicine. Next up, I'm going to be talking about the Oxford Situational Judgment Test book. I'll be linking this book down below. This is a simple book by Oxford. It is used mostly by foundation doctors when they appear in their situational judgment exams. But I was told to use this book by one of my registrars. Thank you so much. Because this book not only does have all the questions and the themes and all the practice that you require with its excellent explanations, but it also has a brief summary of the entire SJTs. So it summarizes the entire SJT mindset. It summarizes all the GMC guidelines at the very start of the book, which is excellent because as an IMG you don't really know much about all of this stuff. We've read the GMC guidelines, but we don't understand how to pick out themes. And this book really does help in understanding different themes that are a part of the SJT exam. Lastly, I'm going to talk about the Emedica Crammer course for SJTs. It's a one-day course, very rigorous, and is conducted by the owner of the Emedica group. The course is amazing. If you are somebody like me who struggles with understanding things which are not logical, then for sure you need to do this course. I am not affiliated with them in any means. They don't even know I exist. But thankfully I was told by one of the foundation trainees that this is a course that exists and it's good, and therefore I attended it from my home because it's online. And the best thing about this course was not only that they make you practice with questions and picking out themes, but they also give you a video link of this entire course for until the time period of your exam, which is what I found was the most helpful bit, because once I did the course, I was in the mindset of doing SJTs. I was not thinking like a doctor. I was not thinking like me. I was thinking like someone who needs to ace the SJTs. But obviously after I was done with the course, a few weeks later I realized that I'm not thinking the same way again. It's gone out of my mind. I'm thinking in the same analytical, knowledgeable way that I usually do. Then therefore the best tip for me, if you actually end up doing this course, is to watch the video of the course day before your exam, because if you do that, it brings you back into the mindset of SJTs and you're able to pick out themes much faster, much quicker, and yeah, it's really helpful. It's a really good course. I absolutely recommend the course to anybody who struggles with SJTs. And as promised, here are some of my tips and realistic goals. So you can prepare for the second round even if you start today. It is not a difficult exam, as I said. The only thing is, you might think that 50 questions and 95 minutes is a lot of time. It actually is not. You have to read every single limb. You have to read a lot of the scenario. You have to think about it, because it's not a one go, one answer. So 95 minutes is a short time to be able to do these 50 questions. So my tip would be practice as much as you can, as fast as you can, to be able to answer questions in the time period. A second tip is to basically understand the theme. So read that Oxford book or read the GMC guidelines, whatever you think you're more comfortable with, and then understand the theme. The theme is the answer. The theme is why you're doing the SJTs. If you go about it blindly, you won't be able to answer. You won't be able to rank the way whoever has set the exam wants you to rank it. Next up, and this is what I realized, is our limitations. If you're coming from outside the UK, or even if you're somebody who has been trained in UK but it's been a few years and you've been SHO, then you kind of forget your limitations as an F1 and an F2. And in these scenarios, sometimes they let you know that you're an F1 or you're an F2 or you're an SHO who's dealing with an F1 or an F2. So they want you to be able to understand your limitations, and what they want you to be able to rank within your limitations. Say for example, if you're asked to consent someone and you're not the surgeon, then you can't consent. In real life, I know that doesn't happen, but as an SJT, it has to be really solid. It has to be completely with the GMC guidelines. So make sure that you understand your limitations and your grade of working whatever it is presented in the scenario, and not individually based to you. And lastly, patient safety comes above everything. So if there are a few different themes in a scenario and patient safety is one of them, then patient safety is the first theme that you need to be ranking in mind with. Do not think about confidentiality. Don't think about probity. Only think about patient safety when patient safety is part of the theme. So yeah, these are my tips for SJTs, and let's move on to the clinical scenario. So the clinical scenario bits are actually very easy. If you're just graduated, if you've just done your F1 and F2 and you're fresh out of medical school, it's pretty easy. It is a lot, to be honest, because there are a lot of sections, and if you're somebody who's been working in one particular aspect of medicine for a long period of time, you might struggle with it. But for a freshie, it's very easy because it comprises of all of the things that we've studied in medical school. For the clinical scenarios, I would recommend doing passmedicine instead of Emedica. I did both, and I found that Emedica was not challenging at all. It didn't comprise of all of the things that are asked in the exam, especially where it comes to the matching and the grading and all those of things. I prefer passmedicine over Emedica, and passmedicine actually is very comprehensive. The revision material that they've given is also very good. So if you only do the question bank with no other revision from passmedicine, you're pretty much sorted for clinical scenarios. You don't need to do anything else. You don't need any Crammer courses, any books, nothing. Just passmedicine for clinical scenarios is amazing. If you just revise properly from all of their explanations, everything is very on point, very comprehensive, very provided in a very good way. So for me, yeah, it was quite easy to do clinical scenarios. It wasn't difficult at all, and it's not a difficult exam as well. So yeah, clinical scenarios, it's just the thing is you have to be very fast because it's a lot of questions in a short amount of time, so you need to be able to kind of quickly answer things and get through with it. And yeah, the clinical scenario bits are not really that difficult. Emedica, you don't need to do. So at the end, if I was going to say how to prepare for the MSRA exam after giving you a review of all the different resources that we have, I would suggest do passmedicine for both, and then do Emedica only for SJTs, and do book the SJT Crammer course by Emedica, which I believe was very, very helpful. I'm not sure if they do it for the second round, but If they do, please do book it. And the Oxford SJT book is an additional. Personally, I like the book because I like reading about the GMC guidelines, and I like to touch and feel things and kind of understand and make my notes. So it was a very good addition in my resources. But if you're somebody who's very happy with online resources, then you don't need to do the book. It's a redundancy, which kind of really helped me a lot. So yeah, I hope that you guys like this video and this video was helpful to you. Please comment down below any questions if you have, and stay tuned for the coming up videos. I will be talking about the anesthetics recruitment processes. I'll be talking especially about the two different aspects of the interviews, so the clinical bit and the portfolio bit. And yeah, hopefully I'll be able to help you guys get into your dream specialty. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel and give the video a huge thumbs up if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!